New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jailers from the Nick of Time show. Here, give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And it's time to hit the gunshots because we back with the full squad, the Voltron, or whatever you want to call it. We all here today to talk Knicks. So let's get into it. Before I get into it, you already know what it is. I got to introduce my guys. First and foremost, it's my man from the YouTube channel across the street. I call him the Raw Metaphor. It is the Raw Hebrew Remnant. What's going on, Raw?
What's up, Jay Ellison crew?
Yeah, I know. I saw y'all in the chat. We want Raw. We want Raw. I saw y'all the last couple of weeks. He's here. Calm down. Chill. He's still here. He's busy. All right? It happens. All right? It happens. All right. Next we got my man, Rookie of the Year from Dallas. Helped us get Jalen Brunson on the Knicks. If you didn't know, he was a spy. He was a spy for us. My man from Posting and Toasting and Deadspin, and now has joined KOT. It's my man Lee. What's going on, Lee?
Don't blame me for the tampering, but I'm definitely coming from MFFL's neck, man. No Matt fans on here, bro. It's only.
Listen,
coming for your neck this year.
As long as you don't find out that Lee is working with the Knicks, they can't stick us for the tampering charges. All right, they can't stick us.
I'm the janitor.
Exactly. Charges will never stick. And you already know who this guy is. It is the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats and the facts.
Ryan G's in the building. Y'all know the vibes. Let's talk Knicks basketball. Let's go.
That's right. And my man Ryan, he's in Indiana now. He moved to New York. He's probably trying to keep an eye on the Miles Turner situation, just in case we can get him on the cheap. So we got spies everywhere in Knicks Nation, all right? We got spies everywhere. We just need one in the New York Knicks office. But let's get to it. First and foremost, listen, you already see. We're gonna be talking about a lot today, okay? We're gonna be talking about Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, everybody. Listen, I got the wrong ticker up, man. That's fine. I can switch it up. But we're gonna be talking about a bunch of people today, all right? And one of the people that I want to talk to you today about is actually Evan Fournier, as Roy likes to call him, Mr. Wee.
I'm hitting the three.
Mr. Wee and the three. Now, if you've been living under a rock, you already saw Tom Thibodeau hit the podium the other day, and a reporter asked him, it's like, so you know the wing. I'm paraphrasing now. He's like, they know the wing position here is a pretty interesting position, and he asked Mr. Tom Thibodeau who the front runner was for the wing position, and he mentioned Mr. Wee and Fournier. And Knicks Nation went wild. I put up the frowny face. No one liked it. I calmed down after a while. Because, you know, I realized it's still early. I didn't want to get ahead of myself, but Knicks Nation reacted and it wasn't pretty. So I'm gonna let Raw lead this talk off. What do you expect from Evan Fournier? What do you make of Tom's declaration that Evan Fournier is in fact the runner, the front runner?
Well, you know, I mean, okay, we know Thibodeau's a vet dude. Fournier, he said Evan played well the second half of last year, but in all fairness, if you listen to the whole comment, he said, we'll see, because we have a lot of depth at that position. And then someone said to him, so that means that Evan Fournier is the front runner. And he said, yeah, you could say he's the front runner. Yeah, like that. But I'm going to reserve judgment until after we see the preseason in the first 20 games of the year. I'm a true believer in the cream rises to the top. I think that Quentin Grimes is going to get his shot. At least I know he's going to get a fair shot to see what he could do. And if he outplays Fournier, I think he's going to end up closing, and he may end up starting eventually. And I'm really looking to and hoping that Cam Reddish gets a fair opportunity to play. But I can understand him starting off the depth chart with how he finished it last year, because that's just how he is.
Yeah, he came in there and broke John Stark's 3-point shooting record.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, as much as people didn't like Fournier, I mean, listen, he did his job. Okay, he did his job. We knew he was an okay defender, and we knew he was going to hit threes, and that's exactly what he did. Lee, I know you were chopping out the bit. What do you have to add to that?
You know, we should be grateful that Evan Fournier is not Courtney Lee or Clarence Weatherspoon or Bella Harrington, Shannon Anderson, one of these vets that when they come in the game or they start, you just can't help but roll your eyes. We're not watching Elfrid Payton. Evan Fournier, he can shoot that thing, and he's one of the best shooters in the NBA. So at least if we're going to be watching a starting unit, you know we're going to have some good spacing with Evan Fournier at that 2-guard position. Now, will it get cooked on defense? No doubt. And hopefully after a 15 or 18 game sample size, around the time of Christmas time, you'll probably see Thibodeau make an adjustment and enter Grimes into the lineup, which is that's just how he operates. He wants guys to earn that spot and not be given to him. So once Grimes provides a sample size off the bench, he's playing D, shooting around 38, 39% from three. He's hitting his free throws, attacking the basket. I think that's when you'll see the opportunity given because it's been earned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Anything to add there, Ryan?
Yeah, so regarding Thibs' comments, first and foremost, I want to start off by saying this. Don't expect someone to beat out Fournier for that starting role going into the regular season, because the only way that's going to happen is if Fournier is outplayed tremendously, where it pretty much gives Thibs no choice to put somebody else within the starting lineup, or he's going to get a lot of heat from the media, fans, etc. So him saying that Fournier is a front runner, Fournier is more than likely going to start going into the season. But if you go based off of last season, even though Fournier started a lot of games, Fournier was on the bench for a lot of the fourth quarters to end the games. So even if Fournier gets that starting position, I'm still not worried, because I feel like based on Thibs' history, going into the end of games, he's going to probably go with the guy who can defend along with space in the floor. And I think, like Ron Lee has mentioned, I think more than likely he's going to go with Grimes towards the end of games and have Fournier just start out games and give the Knicks a boost with the 3-point shot and the spacing, etc. So I'm not concerned. I know Knicks Nation went into a whole frenzy and they went crazy when they heard, Thibs was leaning towards Fournier to be the starter for the Knicks at the 2-guard, but I'm not worried. I'm just telling Knicks Nation, calm down. Based on Thibs' history, he's more than likely not going to be closing out the games, all right? He's just going to start. Be easy.
We all got to be easy. We all got to take a breath, even me. Sometimes my initial reaction is, and then I wait 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, wait a minute. You know what? It's maybe not as bad as it seems at this moment. It's gonna be a process. It's gonna be a process. And it's funny enough, there's a little bit of interesting tidbits happening in news right now. One of them is that Quentin Grimes is suffered a little bit of injury. They said he has a boot on his foot, but they said it's day-to-day. The Knicks, they're kind of weird on how to report injuries though. So I want to believe them, but I'm gonna keep an eye on that. But listen, this is the time for Cam to actually go to the forefront if Grimes is down right now. The way, I already said it before, the way for Cam to get into the starting lineup or into the playing rotation is going to be through defense, okay? Both Cam and Grimes can outplay Evan Fournier on the defensive end, straight up. So if there's any reason for them to play over him, it's going to be on the defensive end. They just have better tools, whether it be athleticism or length. They have better tools. So that's going to be their opportunity. Ultimately, I still feel like it's gonna be Grimes because I don't know. He just, to me, the defensive motor between him and Cam, I feel like Grimes has more of a defensive motor, even though Cam has the actual tools. And that combined with Grimes shooting, I feel like the coach is going to know what he's going to get more day to day from Grimes, which is why I feel like he's going to end up starting anyway, whether it be the beginning of the season or December. But if Cam defends, I think he can be knocking at the door and pressuring Evan, but he has to defend. He has to depend on being a 3 and D guy. That's what I think. But we can get into that. Before we get into that, shout out to my guys. Hold on, there's some super chats. Gunshots for the super chats. Y'all came out the gate throwing money. So shout out to you guys.
Came out the gate throwing you money.
So shout out to you guys. Keith Watkins sends a $4.99 super chat. Says, good evening, fellas. Ready to get into this. Appreciate y'all greatly. We appreciate you too, Keith, man. Thank you for the super chat. It's gonna help us for sure. Keith Watkins sends another $1.99 super chat. Says, hope your family is safe in out there, Roy. Yeah, shout out to Roy. Everybody knows Roy lives in Florida and he's going through a hurricane, but as you can see, Roy's okay. All right. And also, Jason M. Shout out to my guy Jason M. Says, what up, fellas? I can't wait for the games to start. Me too, man. Games are starting on Tuesday. And listen, for you guys watching, stay to the end. I got a surprise to tell you about a guest that's coming, but you're gonna have to wait. But I'm gonna let y'all know. All right. Big things, big guest coming next week. All right, big guest coming next week.
Yes,
and you going to be
let's run ting to run here.
Exactly. Raw, no, he in Florida. You know. All right. Let's get it. All right, let's bring it. I don't really have that many. I don't have a real deep dive for Evan Fournier because I feel like Evan Fournier is like one of the one players where you just know you're gonna get. He's gonna give you the threes. He's gonna have lapses on defense, and you know he might be challenged for a spot. He's coming off of a run where he led his team in France to a finals and lost. So you know he has it in him to be a leader. At least vocally, but here on this Knicks team, I kind of know what to expect. The only thing I'll say is hopefully for him, he gets acclimated to the defensive end a little bit faster. He himself said in the training camp interviews that he felt like his offense got in the way of his defense. Because he got frustrated with the scoring, and that could be it. But also, you know, he's not quick enough sometimes, and also if you watch the games, he has a lot of kind of like brain farts on defense, so that's going to rear his head in. But I don't really have anything else to talk about with Evan Fournier in regards to projections for him. It kind of is what it is with him, you know. So let's get into somebody else a little more fun to project, and we'll go from Evan Fournier to Quentin Grimes. All right. So myself, I have a few questions when it comes to Grimes. One, besides, will he start over Fournier? Two, can he stay healthy? Because now I'm starting to get concerned. Now I'm starting to get a little bit concerned because we already know, I've told you, health can prevent you from getting better from season to season. And he's shown that he's a workhorse. You saw him working on defensive slides. Who posts defensive slides on the Instagram? Like, you gotta love this kid, right? But for him to reach his potential, he has to stay healthy. But one of the other things I really want to see is, can he be more of a playmaker? Can he stay efficient at 3-point line with a bigger role? And can he's played great defense, but can he clean up little things like, you know, helping off of 3-pointers and getting more adjusted to guarding bigger threes? can he take a step in that regard? And if he can, I think Quentin Grimes could be a big addition for us. Lee, what do you think about Lee and his projection with the Knicks?
I mean, this is year 2. I think that there's a lot of promise shown in his rookie year. I think that's why I pumped the brakes a little bit on him not starting this season, is that he's still a sophomore in the NBA. I mean, Cam Reddish, there's more of a precedent for him to be the starter and more of a fear on my part for him to finally get a chance, because Reddish, I believe, is coming in on year 3 or 4. I think he's the same as Luka. So maybe it's year 5. I can't remember what year it was, but there's more of I think of an intensity on Reddish getting that opportunity. Grimes, there's still a lot of room for improvement and a lot of time for him to meet that improvement. During the summer league, the thing I was wanting to see the most was him take over games. We saw that. Unfortunately, I think a lot of that was from a three-point shooting. He did show some off the dribble three-point shooting, some side steps, some step backs, hit it with a hand in his face. I want to see a little more driving. The majority of his shots on offense were three-point shots almost every game. I wanted to see him get to the foul line more to have a chance to show what he can do and do some and ones and attacking the basket with the left and right hand in traffic. That's something off the dribble I want to see a little bit more of. The defense is already at a pretty premier level for someone of his experience and injury history and playing history in college, where he wasn't always given minutes when he first came into the collegiate level. So I think he's made some really great strides. Playing in Houston, and Kelvin Thompson, I'm sure, really helped with that. He seems to have a really good fortitude mentally. So I have no doubt that whatever little things he needs to clean up with, he'll attack that and get it done.
Yeah, I think like it's crazy when you look at his numbers and his spot up shooting. Coach talked about how Evan Fournier is our best 3-point shooter, but Grimes is like right behind him, like on his heels. It's not like it's a landslide. I think Evan is 39% and Evan Fournier is 39% and Quentin Grimes is 39%. And Quentin he shoots at a high volume too. He shot 8 per game in college and hit 40%. So I expect that to be the same result in New York. The thing he does have to work on is the movement shooting, like Lee said. I think Evan has the edge with that. Evan has a knack of like getting that brush stream from Julius Randle is shooting 3 and it's all good and it's all net. And I think if Grimes can add that to his game, it's really going to close the gap for Grimes and this Knicks team in terms of production and what you're getting from Evan Fournier versus Quentin Grimes. What do you think about Grimes' potential, Mr. Raw Metaphor?
I always have looked at him as Allen Houston 2.0, and I still do. And so I'm thinking, like I said, I believe cream rises to the top. It's just a matter of time. Whether, as Leah alluded to, maybe we're, pushing him a little quick for this is year 2. But it could be, it could be this year, it could be second half of this year, next year. At some point, he's the future at the 2 guard spot. So it's just a question of when is he going to take over the mantle? Are we going to get some run out of Evan Fournier this year? As I said, we talked about this off camera, but I really believe Fournier would be tremendous coming off the bench if we started Grimes. But again, I just feel it's a matter of time. And like you, I'm a little concerned because he hurt himself last year, and now he's starting off this year with the soft foot already. So I'm a little concerned about that. We've seen that story before. So let's hope that he's going to be all right. And like you said, the Knicks have a history of hiding players' injuries and and not bringing out all of what's going on until later. So let's just see, hopefully it's a mild thing and then he comes through. But if healthy, I feel like he's going to play his way not only into the rotation, but eventually into the starting lineup. And I think Evan Fournier's natural fit is off the bench, and he's going to be tremendous coming. He's going to be Kyle Korver coming off the bench for us. So I like that. And so I'm thinking eventually he'll take over. I just don't know when yet. Yeah.
What say you, Ryan?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start off my response by responding to somebody in the chat because he asked a question regarding the Knicks depending on Evan's defense Evan's offense for 3 quarters and then having him sit and then depend on somebody else in the 4th quarter. I think it was Orlando Santos that said that asked me that question. Well, first and foremost, Evan the Knicks are not going to be dependent on Evans' offense because the Knicks have several players who can score the ball.
Right.
Evans going to mainly be on the court to space the floor and hit those open threes when he gets them, and also provide a little bit of playmaking as well, because last season he did show that on occasion he can set up, his other teammates for open shots. And the reason why I'm not worried about starting Fournier and then having somebody else replace him going late into the fourth quarter is because of the guy we're talking about right now, Grimes. Because like Jay Ellis said, Fournier shoots the three at a high clip, but Grimes also shoots the three at a high clip. So right there, you're not really missing anything from a shooting perspective. You're going to still get a guy who is just as efficient shooting the threes, but on top of that, he actually provides defense, which Fournier does not provide.
That's right.
Not with Grimes. I think Lee pretty much said everything when he broke down Grimes' game. Defensively, he's already top notch as it is for a second-year player. He's already up there. Offensively, he does need to improve with the playmaking. He's not there as of yet. And also off the dribble as well, he does need to improve, even though he did show flashes of it during the summer league, that he has improved that part of his game.
Yeah. So
overall, yeah, the injuries might be a concern, but I'm not too worried. Still early in his career. I'm hoping that, it's just like nigs and nags, where it's like he's only out for like a short period of time, then he comes back. It's not nothing long term. But overall, like, I expect Grimes to come into this season showcasing pretty much what he showed in the summer league, and hopefully eventually dethroning Fournier for that starting two position. But I think Grimes will be okay this season. Like, I'm expecting a lot from him going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just bring the defense and it should be all good, all be good, man. Everything else will fall into place. But work on these numbers. Work on that short mid. But just get to the rim, hit your threes, and play defense and make plays, and I'll be happy. I don't really care that much about the short mid, really, even though it's blue over there. As long as everything else is orange, I'm fine, and the defense is good. That's all we really need. Is to cover Jalen Brunson's defense. That's all we really need, because Jalen Brunson's defense, he's not that good to pick and roll. Surprisingly, Jalen Brunson is okay with his isolation defensive numbers. Surprisingly, when I looked them up. But
Drake plays good. You saying his numbers look good as far as what a man-to-man defender?
Yeah, as a man-to-man defender. When I was looking up Jalen Brunson's numbers, it actually was way higher than I expected.
He's scrappy. He's a scrappy dude. He's scrappy.
Yeah, I think it was something like 85%, and I'm going off of memory. But I think it was something crazy like 85%, 85th percentile in isolation defense. But he struggled more on the pick and roll defense when I was looking at Jalen Brunson's numbers. So in that regard, Grimes might have to cover him. But I mean, I think it's going to happen. I think Grimes is going to eventually take the spot, no matter whatever Tips just said. But let's really get into the nitty gritty. Before we get into nitty gritty too, if you want to join the conversation at some point, you see that number 319-527-6241. That's 319-527-6241. If you want to call in and talk Knicks. And shout out to Into Knicksverse, who's rocking with us tonight. Shout out to you guys. Great show over there. Shout out to Jason M, Orlando Santos, Fritz Alessandro. Everybody else is rocking the KT show. Shout out to guy like JT Reddick as well. Picks for Timmy, Shells, Heavy, Jay Cruz, everybody who's rocking with us. Shout out to you guys, man. Appreciate you immensely.
Into first, man. Another great Latino content creator covering the Knicks. Love that guy over there. Been a long time fan.
Absolutely, he does a great job over there.
He does good stuff, man, for real.
Definitely does a great job.
Good sense of humor too.
Absolutely. So shout out to Into Nick first. A lot of great content creators out here. All right. Let's get to the nitty gritty.
Pretty gritty.
Let's go. Who do y'all want to talk about? Because there's been this Obi versus Randle thing all summer, and I want to get to the bottom of it tonight. Okay. All right. Let's get to it. Julius Randle comes into media day smiling, cheery, losing weight. I feel like during his press conferences, there was like, yeah, we ever watched Disney where you see like the birds chirping behind the Disney princess because they're like so happy? I felt like I saw birds chirping behind Julius Randle. I have not seen this much of Julius Randle's teeth all last season. And you had to let the guy and go, okay, he had a great vacation. And he said it. He said, I needed some time. I need some time away from the game. I was on vacation. I felt better. And he's reflected now. And he looks like he lost weight. And looks like this, he has his perspective, and hopefully he comes back bigger, better than last year. But here's my questions for Julius Randle. Some of my biggest ones anyway. The first one, can Julius Randle learn to take a smaller role? And the second one, I have more, but can Julius Randle adjust to playing more off ball? Because he was horrible at it last year. And also it seems like he knows he needs to work on it, because he talked about in training camp how everybody worked in that same spot and they all worked on their shooting. But for me, for this team to be successful, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett has to get better. So I'm gonna kick this off to Ryan. Ryan, what do you feel about Julius Randle this season? Do you think he can adjust to taking a smaller role, or even just shooting in general? Go ahead.
Okay, Julius Randle. So I'll say this. I'm not really the type of person where I hold grudges, and be like, okay, you know what? Last year he was on this type of time, he had this kind of attitude, so I'm done with him and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Would I have minded if Julius Randle was traded in the offseason? Of course not. I wouldn't have minded it at all. But since he is here, and since he's coming into the season with a positive attitude, it seems like he's smiling, he's cheerful, it seems like he got his mind right, I'm willing to give him another chance. And will he? Now, it remains to be seen if he's willing to take a smaller role. But I will say this. I think throughout Julius Randle's career, I cannot recall him really playing with a legit point guard like that. Not a point guard not the point guard of caliber of Jalen Brunson, Quickly, Rose, all these guys together. So Julius Randle's going to be more off ball, and I feel like that's more to his skill set, because he's not a point forward. He's not the type of guy where he can have the ball in his hands and create for other players and at the same time create his own shot. He does need a point guard that will help him to get the shot that he wants. So me personally, being an optimist about it, I feel like he will adjust to playing with a point guard and playing without the ball in his hands, just for the simple fact that they will help him to get the shots that he wants and the shots that he can actually hit and produce. So I think with a point guard on his side, he'll adjust to it. And I'm hoping that he can get back to some semblance of what he was during his All-Star year and be a productive player for the Knicks. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to give the guy another chance. That's it.
Ryan forgives him. Raw Hebrew remnant. Do you believe in Julius Randle's floaters? Respond.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't believe in his spin moves. I'll tell you that much.
All right. Look here. I think the Julius Randle situation for this season is different from any other season that he has played in this respect. It started with, to me, with the Derrick Rose comments. When Derrick Rose said, that's right, when Derrick Rose said, you got to be held accountable. You can't get in your feelings. We all know, and I hate to speak for everybody, but I think most of us understand.
Oh, yeah.
He was directing that comment at one Julius Randle. And I think Randle caught that. That to me sets a tone because you're already put on notice. D Rose is going to be up in your behind. You know Jalen Brunson is. And you also know now RJ, you guys remember it was RJ's first year? When Julius Randle's first year with the Knicks. I don't know if that was RJ's first year or is that was second. Okay. So one time kind of told the story of that season. RJ runs down the floor, he's clapping for the ball. And Julius dribbled into a double team and turned it over. RJ didn't say anything because he was a rookie. RJ's no longer a rookie.
That's a fact.
So I'm saying between RJ, between Jalen Brunson, between Derrick Rose, they will hold Julius Randle accountable. And as I think it was Ryan just mentioned, he's playing with leaders at the point guard spot because now you got Derrick Rose and you got Jalen Brunson. These are leaders. And RJ's now, I saw from this whole week, one of the things that came away from me is RJ is now the face of the franchise, period. So now Julius de facto takes a back seat to all of that. If he doesn't, somebody's going to tell him about it. Nobody's going to be quiet this year and let him do that. Right. Nobody's going to be quiet this year and let him just go off like that. So that gives me confidence that he's going to play better. And that's why I'm feeling pretty good about
it. Yeah. Now, the end of the year, give me confidence. Go ahead, Lee. Look, you want to say something.
Man, do I. I break it down between, on one hand, there's what I want, my preference, and the other is the situation we're in. My preference, I wrote a piece last week for Post and Toasting 3 reasons why Julius Randle needs to get the hell out of New York. The main reason is because of Tom Thibodeau and their relationship. It's a symbiotic, toxic relationship. They enable each other and bring out the worst qualities of each other.
That's like some Marvel
He's absolutely right about that. He's absolutely right about that.
Tom Thibodeau is not a bad coach. He's a good coach with bad tendencies and bad habits. Julius Randle is a very good player with bad tendencies and bad habits, and they enable the worst in each other. Now, that's my preference. We're in the situation where Leon Rose seems committed to Julius Randle. He reiterated that commitment in the sit-down interview with Alan Hott. So if Julius Randle is on the team, the quote that stuck out to me the most is when he actually said something that I've heard Knick fans say on Twitter, which means he's paying attention, because we know he is, on a burner on his official. And that was, it's easy to be the king when things are going well.
Woo.
It's harder when you're losing. He said that in that first press conference and made me realize that he is at least somewhat self-aware of the position that he took last season when the fans turned against him, not because he's a bad person or because of what he wore that day in the tunnel, but the play that he had on the court and the effort he put forth on defense, being the first one back in transition. And those are the type of things I think we're going to see a turnaround this season. But shooting efficiencies probably be closer to last year than they were the year before. I think that was a total anomaly, shooting over 40% from three. I think we get really down to the real metrics of him as a shooter. We're going to see maybe at average, league average, or slightly above, probably from 2-point range free throw. But it's the attitude and the effort being the first one back on defense, not missing assignments, talking to each other and communicating on the defensive side of the ball that's starting to win the New York fan base back. If he doesn't do that, put a boot up his ass and get him out of Madison Square Garden.
Lee has spoken. You ain't have to go there with the boot. That was a little low, bro. You ain't have to do the boot. That was a little much. But I get the point. I get the point. You have to be extra. You have to be dramatic. I got you, Lee. I got you.
Every chat, everywhere. Same thing.
Oh, shoot.
But here's the thing. I'm with all you guys, right? First, I'm with all you guys. There was pictures of RJ looking at Julius Randle in the huddle, and I don't know if I'm looking at it with like in my weird brain or an actuality brain, but in times it looked like RJ was looking at him in disgust, like, bro, are you really hogging the ball and not giving up right now?
Exactly.
And then I felt that energy, and I was elated that it seemed like the Knicks were transitioning from Julius Randle heavy basketball into an RJ centric offense last season, and I hope that is the trend. And I hope that is more so with Jalen Brunson here. I feel like it should be Jalen and RJ kind of splitting the duties, or maybe slightly more Jalen, and then Julius getting some off-ball type of stuff, and maybe if there's like some crazy mismatch where he's taking advantage of and got it rolling, he gets the ball that way. That's what I think it should really happen. But I agree. I think it might be the easiest here for him to stay in line because there might be more leaders on the team, homegrown or Jalen Brunson. Which brings me to another question for you guys. I've kind of turned the page on trades, but I heard Ian kind of talk about like that there's like a 40% chance that a trade can happen. So I have questions. Like, one question is, can Randle rehab his image and actually learn to play off ball and improve his shooting? But on top of that, my secondary question is, if he does improve, are we still looking to move him at that point because it works, or are we moving on? Any of y'all can jump in this one. If whoever feels the spirit.
I was listening to what Lee said about Leon Rose's interview, and I caught it a little different because he was, to me, he's like the used car salesman telling you the car's running good as new, it looks great, blah, blah, blah. And he's talking about Julius Randle. And I'm thinking, he just wants to up his value. And then Alan asked him, you know, the 21 draft picks, is the shop still open? What are we doing? Yep. So I'm like, okay, yep. I know that he's always open to, like next summer, if some superstar breaks loose, or the year after that, I think it's 2 years, that he has the draft capital to get something done. But I'm also thinking that I think if Julius Randle plays well this year, and the reason I say that I think they trade him is because, okay, listen to us. He's got to have the right head, right? We're looking for leaders to help him. Why we got to go through all that?
Yeah.
I mean, Obi's the future. So I'm not saying Obi's better than him, but he's definitely got a better attitude. We don't have to worry about Obi's attitude. So that's all I'm saying. And you can play Hartenstein behind Obi at the 4 if you want. You can play Cam at small ball 4 if you want. I'm not, and I'm saying, I'm thinking they're brushing up him, Julius, that is. And the minute he looks like all-star Julius, they're going to trade him. I think that's what's going to happen.
I definitely agree with that. I do think Rose is committed and understands that Julius Randle re-signing, the extension contract he gave him, that was his first really big move. And I think the team that he inherited, you've seen him slowly phase those guys out. And Randle is someone I think that he's concentrated on, as someone that he's put his name on and his stamp on, is saying, this is my move. And he's all invested on making sure that asset reaps some kind of value. Now, that value could also be trade value, but Randle has to make that trade or create that trade value before he can actually get a good return for it. One thing Leon Rose is going to do, he ain't going to sell low.
That's right.
He's going to make sure that once that trade happens, it's going to be because he's getting at least 1.5 first-round picks back, half being the other one is protected, maybe top 10 or top 15. I hope no matter what, good season, bad season, in between, I hope by the trade deadline, Julius Randle is traded, because at the very least, it just means Obi Toppin's unleashed. All of us love Obi Toppin. It's probably the one thing Knick fans are all united on, even ones that like and believe in Julius Randle, is we all love Obi Toppin. And I think that trade is worth it just for that alone.
That's right.
Man, listen, I've been perusing the YouTube Knick streets. Not everybody's all in on Obi Toppin. I'm gonna let you know. It's not like that. The hive has been divided.
There is a Randle hive. He got people polishing up them nutsacks. But I still think you still got the majority of Knicks Nation.
Oh man, we went here today, boy. We went there today. Oh
Raw's
man,
back, baby. Raw's back.
Raw is back. Y'all wanted Raw, y'all got Raw.
Let's go.
Raw is called Raw for a reason. All right, Raw takes, Raw facts, Raw uncut.
Man.
I
was gonna throw something in there. Like, I know a lot of people might not like what I'm about to say, but I think it's gonna prove true this upcoming season, because I don't know if the Knicks are really hell bent on moving Randle, to be honest. And I think it's going to depend a lot on how Obi shows out this season.
Boom. Ryan, reading my brain right now, Ryan.
Yeah, because if Obi doesn't show out this season, and say, for example, Julius Randle is playing good, I don't think the Knicks are going to be willing to trade Julius Randle just for the hope that, Obi's going to get more minutes and he's going to produce the way that they expect him to produce. Like, I think Obi's going to have to show within his minutes that he's ready for the role. And I think if Obi shows that, and at the same time Julius Randle actually ups his value, I think that's when the Knicks are going to be like, you know what? It's time to pass the torch.
Right.
It's easy to trade Julius Randle out, so let's trade Julius Randle, then Obi moves in. But if Obi doesn't show that he's ready for the position, Julius Randle, that's going to still be Julius Randle's position.
I agree.
Like, whether Knicks fans like it or not.
I agree.
Yep, I agree. I'm just thinking de facto Obi's going to show out. That's all. I mean, but that Ryan makes an excellent point, because if Obi takes a step back, then they're going to keep Julius Randle. But
I got a question. For Ryan. What do you think Obi needs to show out? Because we know he has like the attitude, he's got the effort, he's got the athleticism, he runs a court. What else do you think he needs to show in those 12 or 15 minutes that Thibs give him? Let's hope it's at least 12. What do you think? What attributes do you think he needs to show?
I just think it's more so what he showed towards the end of last season, if he can build on that, because he showed towards the end of last season that that there's a lot to his game and that he can be a productive player on the court for the Knicks. And a lot of times last season, he did show that he meshes well. He meshes better with the team than Julius Randle does at times. So I think he has shown last season that he's capable of stepping into that starting role. He just needs to build on that. Like, if he plays similarly to the way he played last season towards the end of the season, and adds on top of that, then I think it's going to get to a point where the Knicks are going to be like, yeah, Obi is ready, because he's shown consistent play. I think Obi has yet to show consistent play throughout a whole season. He's shown glimpses. Now it's his time to be consistent. I think once he shows that he's consistent, then that's when the Knicks are going to be like, you know what? We have a young stud here in Obi. He's growing. He's blossoming.
Yeah.
Julius Randle's value is up because he's playing well. Okay, let's move Julius Randle and get back value for him, because I don't think Leon Rose is just going to throw him away, just for anything.
What do you think, Ryan? Let me ask you a question, Ryan. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Obi is all for him? It's all about his confidence level, though, right? Like, I think he got more confident as the season went on, and he played better. And to me, from the interviews that I've seen with him this September here, this month, if it means anything, he just seems more confident to me. And if that carries over, I think it's gonna bode well for him.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely more confident. I think I'm just speaking from a more realistic standpoint. Like, sometimes Knicks fans want to act like, Leon is just going to throw away Julius Randle for a back. No, he's not. And Obi's going to move into the starting lineup. Like, no, that's not going to be the case. Like, Obi's going to have to continuously prove that he's ready. And then once he continuously proves that he's ready, then that's when the Knicks are going to probably be like, you know what, now it's time to move Julius Randle since his value is up, and actually get value back for him. Because I don't think Leon doesn't want to look like a fool. Right. Because he gave him that extension. So he's going to want value back for Randle.
That's right.
So once Randle gets back to a place where his value is up, then that's when Leon is going to move him once Obi shows that he's consistent and he's ready to step into that role.
I think some of the things that he can come in and do, he's got to improve a three-point shot.
Absolutely.
His three-point shot got to be more consistent, especially in the corners, so he can show he can add a different dynamic than Julius Randle can. The rebounding's got to improve too. He just doesn't have necessarily like the same knack. Randle's a very good rebounder. He's got to show a similar knack for the boards, not just on the defense, but offense too, to where he's not just, relying on lobs and alley-oops, but he's actually going after the offensive rebound, putting the ball on the floor, doing a spin move. No, I shouldn't say spin move. Doing some type of move open in the post to show that he's been working on something with his handle over the summer. Those things have to improve in the short sample size that we get from him, because that first year he would miss a defensive assignment and his entire game would just slow down because of his lack of confidence. So, I think you guys made some good points on what we should be seeing year 3.
Yeah, like listen, for Obi, defensively is really needs to work, because as much as I love Obi and his potential on offense, I do feel like the more he played, the more comfortable he got, the more he's able to kind of figure out the game and know where he can pick his spots. I always talked about on the show, he's a rhythm shooter, he's a rhythm guy. He's not a microwave guy. He's going to get his confidence through rhythm and through playing more. And you saw that. You saw that when he started to play more, he started to actually make some nice passes. He actually started to hit some corner threes, 3-pointers in general. And he got comfortable, and he was able to kind of leak out and get to the rim at a high rate and finish and score a few 20-point games. But for him, and even hit some mid-range shots when he started to get comfortable, you start to see him actually try new things and expand his offensive game. So he needs time. But for Obi to really stick, the defensive side of the ball has to be worked on, because that is still a tremendous weakness for him, on top of the rebound. He likes to leak out a lot. You have to sometimes stay there and get the rebound, the offensive and defensive, right? Also, stats for Obi Toppin: isolation defense, bad, 36th percentile. Spot up shooting, bad too, 39th percentile. But I can see that going up with more reps. But here's the big thing: pick and roll. One of the most used plays in the league. 47th percentile guarding the pick and roll ball handler, 11th percentile guarding the roll man. He has a lot of work to do on the defensive side of the ball. And it seems like he was doing that when talking. I saw him on Content Day. And on Content Day, he was talking to Monica, and he was talking about how he was working out with, I forgot who he said he was working out with. He was working out with a shooter and with the LA Clippers. He's working out with Karl Anthony Towns. He's working out his game in the summer. What I thought was really important too is he actually went back to New York and kind of worked with Tom. And to me, that's the most important thing, getting that one-on-one rapport with your coach, so you really can learn, what do I need to do? What do I need to work on, and go over tape and film. I think that's going to be more important than anything. And it's going to help him on the defensive end. And he also said he was working on guarding 1 through 5, because Tom Thibodeau talked about it today. He's reluctant to play Julius Randle and Obi Toppin together. And if Obi Toppin can step up on the defensive end, he might be more willing to play around with the lineups, but he has to step up on the defensive end for that to happen. I don't know. You look like you wanted to say something.
I remember when we drafted him, my dad and I, we were watching the draft. We were real excited when they announced it. We didn't have to trade up to get him. And then I watched a lot of highlights from Dayton, and I just didn't see a whole lot of putting the ball on the floor, scoring and face-up opportunities. There was so much in transition. There was so much wide-open dunks. I mean, he's an elite athlete. He's probably a top 10 athlete, maybe top 5 in the NBA. He's unbelievable. But he doesn't have a whole lot of off-the-dribble handles to create in traffic and in the mid, especially in the mid-range. He's really got to work on his mid-range, not just attacking, but also his shot too. That I want to see that more than anything. If he does that, there's no reason you can't keep him on the bench if he's able to break this man down and score off a dribble.
I agree. I agree. I agree to all. But I mean, he can do it. He can do it. He just needs the time. Shout out whole gunshots to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for watching. If you're loving the show so far, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. And trust me when I tell you, we have a big guest coming next week, and you're going to want to be here for that guest. Trust me. We got a question from Nickverse. He says, Knick of Time Show, your brother, do you feel hopeful for this upcoming season? Describe hopeful. Do I feel like we might shock the world like RJ Barrett said? Anything is possible. But I feel like we're like a play-in team. I kind of feel like that. Like the East is stacked. Shoot, even the West is stacked. And a lot of has to go right. For me, I'm looking at this team. We have a lot of young guys, which means we have a lot of potential, right? There's a lot of X factors when you have a lot of young guys. But we'll also look at this coach. I know with his preference to play older players. So the chances of seeing that potential come to fruition can be stifled with a coach who doesn't want to play younger players. So I'm a little bit of a mixed bag. It really depends to me on how the coach plays this. I feel like we have the potential, but I have to see what the coach does, because I'm really high on guys like IQ, Obi, Grimes, and Cam, and I'm kind of hopeful on Julius, but I'm not hopeful that Tom will do the right thing if Julius goes off the rails. That's just me personally. All right. I know we got a caller. Shout out to my guy Jason M. I know you've been waiting for a long time. Thanks for calling in. If you guys want to call, the number is on that little graphic that flashes at the bottom. It should be 319-527-6241. What's going on, Jason?
Yeah, there's a crazy echo only when you talk. So.
What'd you say?
Oh,
there's an echo, but it's only
there was
when
an
you
echo
talk.
when you were speaking when I was on the phone. Only on the phone, not on YouTube. YouTube is fine.
Okay.
All right. So, what's up, fellas? How's everyone doing?
Good, man.
Good, man. We chilling.
Oh, I think I only hear you now, unless somebody else is talking.
Okay, I think the sound is weird, but go ahead.
So, you guys actually said a lot of what I was going to say about Randle and Toppin, because I agree 1,000% with what Ryan said, that if Randle plays well, the Knicks are not just going to move him. It really depends on how well Obi plays. And what he needs to show, which you guys already said, was shooting, because people forget that there was a point last year where teams were leaving him wide open, and he was scared to shoot, and he shot a lot of air balls. He got better towards the end of the season. Let's see if he can carry that on regular season, because if he can't shoot, I don't know if he can play.
Facts.
The other thing is defense. And a lot of, and like, you said it, pick and roll defense. Like, if, let's say the Knicks salary dump Randle, right? Would you feel comfortable? Would you feel comfortable in the first game playing against Memphis that John Morant won't attack Obi Toppin every play and potentially get him in foul trouble in the first 2 minutes of the game? Like, he needs to play more. But when he plays more, he has to show that too. And if he does that, then yeah, I think they'll move Randle. But he has to show that before they try to move Randle. That's all I'll say.
I agree. I agree. What I feel comfortable, I would say, I would roll with it. I'm not sure if I feel 100% comfortable, but I will say this. What Obi lacks in technique, he does kind of show effort. Like, I've seen Obi get beat and recover. You know? Like, I've seen him get beat a lot and recover and get a block or bother a shot. So I know bare minimum he's going to give effort. He just needs to work on his technique. So I feel like sometimes I kind of feel like the more he plays, the more he'll be able to adjust to that. But I also feel on the offensive end, though, on the offensive end for sure, I feel like he has a chance to actually fit the games of Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett and Quentin Grimes more on the offensive end. I think that's actually a real possibility. But I do agree the defensively is still a shaky point. And low key, we do get on Randle for not being like a defensive guy, but his defensive numbers have been pretty good as well. I mean, at least on the pick and roll side, not so much on the isolation side. So, but Obi Toppin, like you said, definitely has to work on that side of the ball.
Yeah, because Randle, the one thing that Randle does really well on defense, he's really good at switching. Like, when he has to guard a guard, he's really good at it. It's like, I wish Tibbs did it more, because he's terrible at actually, like, playing pick and roll defense, like dropping and all that. He can't do it. But if you split him, he actually does pretty well. But the other thing I was just going to say is, I'm, like, you guys know at the end of last year I wanted the Tibbs gone. I'm going to give Tibbs a clean slate this year. I'm going to give him the first 20, 25 games. Most of the reason why I was so mad at him last year is because he didn't change when we all knew the season was pretty much over.
Yeah.
And I think this year, if he gets to that point, he'll just be fired. So it's not like, if it gets to the point where the season's not going anywhere, I don't think it'll be his decision to change anyway.
Yeah. Nah, I agree
and
with you. But
the red line for me is Obi needs to play at least 20 minutes a game. I don't care how you do it. He needs at least 20 minutes a game. It can't be no 15. He needs 20 minutes a game. As long as he gets 20 minutes a game and Grimes is playing, I'll be fine. I mean, I'm not gonna say, and then we'll just see how we do. But because every fan is going crazy right now, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, and this is why fans are kind of reacting emotionally to him not even considering playing Obi and Randall together, because all the fans know, like, shoot, if they don't play together, what is the chance that he does even sniff 20 minutes a game? Like, it's looking really bleak. So like everybody's kind of up in arms that about a wasted pick. Like, and I like. There's players who go to other teams and they blossom and they really show who they really are, and it's a high probability that that can be Obi Toppin for us. I know we always talk about Knicks who leave us and play better somewhere else. I feel like Obi Toppin has the potential to be one of those guys where that one will be talked about for a long time. You know, like like he goes somewhere else and just starts dropping 20 and 8. I can see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. But the other thing I'll say, this will be the last thing, is like with Randall and how he should play this year. I agree that he should play more off ball, but I think fans are taking it too far. Like, he shouldn't be like Draymond Green or Obi Toppin, like where he's always passing constantly. Like, I feel like he should be a mix of what he was like 2 years ago, and kind of like what Obi Toppin does. Like, it shouldn't be that he only passes the ball, he never plays on ball. I think they should share usage. Him, Brunson, and RJ. They should all have a similar usage. I don't think he should just become like, I don't know, this complete off ball passer guy. Like, I feel like they all three, cause they need each other, all three of them.
I don't know if I really agree with that. I still think the high turnover rate to me is an indication that he needs to not have the ball in his hands, especially when it comes to the fourth quarter. That little post up, and that could be Randall, or that could be Tibbs. But I think the fourth quarter execution when the game's in tight, especially, we don't need Randall to have the ball in that. I have not seen the success outside of the dream year.
That's because every play they just give him the ball. Like, I'm not saying give him the ball every play. I'm saying, share the ball, but I'm saying don't have him just never have the ball. Like, that's what I feel like a lot of fans want. They want him to never have the ball and just have RJ and Brunson always have the ball. I'm saying share the ball.
They don't. No,
I'm not saying he shouldn't have the ball all the time at the end of the game. Definitely
he
not.
shouldn't be dribbling the ball up the court and setting up the offense.
I think people are going too far with it. They want him to be like, I don't know, like some, like, I don't even know, like some crazy off ball guy who only does set picks and like spots up. Like,
got you.
He's gonna do some ball movement. That's all I'm saying.
Understood. Yo, thanks for calling, man. We're gonna talk about what you just said, and absolutely, man. Good to hear from you, dog. All right. Sorry, I had to kind of.
I think that's a little bit extreme. I don't think nobody's expecting him never to touch the ball, but I think he's not going to be dribbling the ball up and setting up the offense. He shouldn't be doing that. That should be, every three other guys at least, but not him. So he should get the basketball a lot, but get it in percentage areas where he's really effective. And I think that's where Brunson's going to help him.
I agree. But I think what he's saying, though, which I don't agree with, is all of them should have the ball at equal usage. I don't agree with that.
No, definitely not. No, definitely not. Hell no. Not Randall. Randall, that's the whole problem. He's been, no.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that at all. Like, sometimes, but like, it should be a pecking order to me. It should be Brunson, RJ, then Randall in my eyes.
Yeah.
Some combination, or RJ, Brunson, Randall, but it shouldn't be three equal slices of a pie to me.
But there's a big difference between Randall bringing the ball up and then catching at the top of the key and setting up a play.
Right.
Like, there's a huge difference there. And I'm okay with him operating the half court. He's a decent facilitator in the half court. Spots. We saw so many times when Alec Burks or Kimba was out there, he took control of the ball and brought it up from one side of the court to the other. And it's so often led to a turnover because what player is not going to come trap that and try to knock the ball out of his hands?
Lonzo Ball made a fool out of him. Ball made a fool out of him in Chicago, man. I actually
believe the opposite. I feel like on the fast break, if he gets the rebound, I'm more confident in him, like, you know, grabbing the rebound and going, and then if nothing is there, give it to Jalen Brunson and or RJ and set up the offense. I feel like it should be reversed
on
on
that one, bro. I think you're solo on that one. I'm not comfortable with him.
Yeah, no, me neither. I don't want him leading the break.
If he has rebound, I've seen him at his best. When Randle was running to me last year, that's when I felt like he was at his best, when he was running.
Hold your breath. If he takes more than 3 dribbles, hold your breath. He might lose it.
I feel like he gets more in trouble when he is posting up. He's posting up, or he's at top of the key holding the ball, and the defense keys in on him, and he tries to spin move. I feel like that's when he gets in more trouble. But
in terms of him, but there's been also times where he got the ball at top of the key and got rid of it or made a move. And when he does that, he's extremely effective. I mean, he's at his best at that position. But, and he can sometimes lead a break, but it's always like, you're holding your breath because you don't know if he's going to dribble into a double team, if he's just going to turn it over, he's going to dribble off his foot. If he just needs to give that rock up and get it to somebody that can run the break. But in the half court, yes, he does sometimes does the spin move. But now, because of who he's got with him, I feel like if he could just make a decision with the ball within 2 seconds, he's going to be really good. He's going to be really good.
Oh, his 2-man game with Fournier.
Oh yeah,
was badass last season.
He's going to be really good.
That was a great 1-2 punch. He always found Fournier for open threes.
That was the one thing that I thought he could do well, is screen for Fournier and Fournier's shoe. But outside of that, double team. I don't know. It was catch and go. It was touch and go for me personally.
Well, I mean, he did the same thing with Reggie Bullock when he was on the team. They had a good 2-man game going, and at the end of last year, Thibodeau alluded to this. Him and Fournier were finding a little rhythm. I think they'll be all right. It's to me, the key is Brunson and RJ and D Rose taking a proper leadership roles and not allowing him to just get away with that crap, not enabling him.
Right. I think he has to play off the ball more. That's what I think. I think he has to cut. Yeah. I feel like
for sure
he has to cut more because he hasn't really done that. Kind of just stays there as a way for the jumper. But I don't know. That's just me. Salute to the chat.
Yeah. No, I just want to throw in one thing right quick.
Go ahead.
I do want to agree with Jay on one thing though, because Julius Randle, when it comes to bringing the ball up the court, I'd much rather him on the fast break, because on the fast break the defense is not organized. And Julius Randle has more space to dribble. And then when Julius Randle gets a full head of steam towards the basket, he's definitely highly effective at finishing at the rim. Where Julius Randle gets in trouble is when he brings the ball up the court and the defense is already organized.
Exactly.
That's where Julius Randle gets in trouble. So I'll agree with Jay on that point.
He's throwing that away. That's right. Yeah, I agree with that. He can sometimes run the break.
Thank you, Ryan. Come on back. Appreciate it. Yo, salute to the chat, man. If you're enjoying this show, man, this likes a light, man. 119 in the chat, 82 likes. Let's get these likes up. And we got more to talk about, and we also going to talk about the big guest that's going to be coming to the show pretty soon. So salute to you guys in the chat. Shout out to Boston Nick. He supports like every Knicks content creator known to man. Shout out to you, Benjamin Siddles, Van Allen, NS, East Blue Drew. Everybody else is rocking with the KOT show. Next caller up, we got my man Silver Analytics, aka Reaper. What's going on?
Hey, thank you guys for taking my call. How you guys doing tonight?
All right.
Cool. Yeah, actually, I think I agree with you guys made a lot of great points today. Just one thing about the Julius Randle and defense. I know we've been Jay, we've been going a little back and forth on the stats, and it's like the NBA.com stats. Like, one thing I would say is like the defensive stat is a little misleading because of the way they tabulate a lot of it. For example, with Randle, I think his stats are better than it should be, because if you guys remember Randle, he just won't make an effort, right? He'll just let his man go right by, or just let his man go right down the court. So what happens is, because, he just let his man go, and let's say Grimes happens to be under the basket, that stat goes to Grimes, right? And so that, stat is not going to go to Julius. So sometimes the fact that he doesn't make an effort, it's just like, it's like his stats are going to look good. So if he's only playing defense when he wants to, You know, when he's challenged, if he's only going to challenge shots when he wants to, then his stats are going to look good. But you know, so I think that's a big part of it. Why his stats look, you know, it seems like he plays such great defense. That's so basically the eye test isn't really matching up to what we see on stats sometimes.
Right. I mean, that's more specific. It's like isolation defensive stats, it's pick and roll stats. But then there's things like team defense where like you can overplay and not help out, or you can, you know, not get back on defense. Those type of stats are kind of like hard to quantify. I haven't really seen like not get up back on defense stat, you know. But if there was one, that might be the stat where he lose at. You know what I mean? Or the non-closeout stat. You know, those like the non-closeout 3 stat. Like, we don't see those stats a lot. You know what I mean?
That's true. But just getting to what we've been seeing lately with the you know, these press conferences after these practices. I mean, honestly, it started with the first press conference they did with Monica McNutt. I think the order says it all. Like the order that, you know, they did the interviews in, RJ, Jalen Brunson, then it was Randall, then Obi. And then after that, I think, who did they have? I think it was in Derrick Rose maybe first, or was it Mitch Rob? I can't remember. But the order basically,
those are 4 pretty much of the game. Yeah, main guys. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those first 4, that's who they feel as the main guys. But you guys are like, obviously have already picked up that it looks like he's going to be playing off ball a lot more this year. And even the way Jalen Brunson has been talking, he's the one who's been doing a little more talking about, like, you know, I don't know, just the vibe, the way Jalen Brunson has been talking and what the coaches said, and you kind of mixing in with what Julius is saying. It looks like he's going to be the third option, or he's going to be just like, they're going to be like, Julius cut. No. So,
right. Yeah. I agree. My only worry is that Jalen Brunson doesn't fall back too much. That's my only kind of, because he seems like the, you know, let me let them get theirs type. And I want him to be able to take a little bit more control. But it does seem like Julius is more willing to work off ball this season. That's what I got.
Yeah, I think, you know what I think? I think, you know, when they talk about, Tiz was talking about how one of the things Jalen is really good at is basically giving what the team needs. Like Jalen, he's really good at, like, you know, he's one of those kind of players. I mean, he's one of those kind of guards that's able to actually control the offense pretty well. Mm-hmm. And so he knows basically a lot of times if he knows the offense needs a little scoring, he's going to do it. And if we're going to struggle with efficiency again this year, I don't think he's going to just sit back and sit back like that. I think he's going to, I think he'll step up.
I hope so.
If we start to struggle with efficiency.
I hope so.
But that's, you know.
I hope so, man. I definitely hope so. Yo, salute to you, Grim Reaper, man. Yo, thanks for calling. Thanks for all the support, too.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Shout out to the Reaper. And Fritz, I think we can take more calls if you like delete the file and then sign back in. But I'll show you how to do that later if you can't figure it out. All right. But let's move it along. Shout out to Uncle Folio. I saw he was in the chat. Somebody mentioned anyway. Shout out to you, man. Thanks for dropping in. He says people should embrace Randle as a point forward. That's what makes him different than any player at his position. That's literally where got him to all NBA. Yeah, I guess it's like it's the gift and the curse. Like I don't feel Julius Randle has.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
I don't think Julius Randle has natural passing abilities. Like he can't break down a defense and what's going on in the motion and make the right pass. I just feel like he's been able to draw defenses and then draw a double and kick it out. Draw a double and kick it out. Or brush screen pass. He's not like Jason Kidd out there, right? It's nothing complicated. But the fact that he's big enough to draw defenses is what's got him his assist. So I feel comfortable lessening his load on that side of the ball because of his high turnover rate, me personally anyway. Even though I do recognize he has somebody there, but I feel like that usage, when that usage is too high, you're just gonna be prone to way too many mistakes. That's just me personally. All right. Yo, let's move it all along, guys. Let's move it all along to somebody else who want to talk about. The last person I actually want to talk about is something I'm really interested in, and that is Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein. Learn from the Joker, okay? I've heard he's picked up some passing things from the Joker. That's what I was reading. But he's been a pleasant surprise for the Clippers. When training camp started and he was interviewed, he said the Knicks really wanted it. And I can see why. This is a guy who kind of can do a lot of things that Mitch can do on the defensive end. He plays the pick and roll well, 75th percentile, guarding the pick and roll. Big man, can pass well. Kind of reminds me of Kyle Quinn with the passes, the backdoor passes, and the quick thinking on that side of the ball. And he has potential to kind of stretch the floor. He has a nice little floater game, actually. And he has a reputation of shooting the three-point shot, even though it's on extremely low volume. He does hit them at a 47% clip when he does take them. I think he took 30 in total last season. Guys, what are you looking forward to when it comes to Hartenstein? For me, I'm very excited to see actually Hartenstein and Obi play together in particular, because I feel like those guys' skills kind of complement each other. You know, Obi, a guy who kind of three, but also is a guy who's very good at improvisation and cutting off the ball. I feel like him and Hartenstein together is going to wreak havoc with NBA second units. What do you think, Raw? I see Raw over there squirming like he want to say something.
No, I think Hartenstein is. I already called the second unit led by IQ and Obi Mob Deep. He's gonna bring it to a new level. And the thing is that I mean that second unit to me, that's okay. So the Knicks second unit to me is one of the best in the NBA. It's been that way for about a year and a half, but this is going to make them the class of the second units in the NBA to me.
Yeah.
And so what hurt us, like if you guys know very well, like last year, a lot of times the first unit gets us in the hole, the second unit gets us out, the first unit puts us back in, right? I mean, because Tibbs kept insisting on putting these starters back in, and either they were gassed or they just simply weren't as good. And the second unit was always like either save us or get us out of hole. This year, the first unit is better to me. So when you have a better first unit and now your second unit is coming to another level, I think because Hartenstein does that. To me, you're talking about him and Obi, and I'm saying like him and Obi and IQ, all them cats, man. It's going to be good. I'm very excited about the second unit because one thing we know for sure, the second unit is going to play.
Yeah, they're going to
play. How many minutes they're going to play, we don't know, but they're going to play and they're going to play well. So that is very exciting, especially if the first unit can either create a lead or hold the lead. Oh my God, it's going to be good. It's going to be very good.
I'm interested to see we can do this. The first unit, like also too, like I'm interested to see. Listen, one of my biggest concerns have been Jalen Brunson not having the spacing he had in New York that he had with Dallas Mavericks, and not having him replicate his success in New York because he doesn't have the same spacing. Hartenstein kind of has the potential to give him some spacing. Him, RJ, and Connor Randall, and kind of give another wrinkle that we never had. So I'm kind of interested to see Hartenstein in different roles here. But yeah, go ahead, Lee or Ryan. One of y'all can jump in and talk about Hartenstein. What you think he's gonna bring to the Knicks?
You go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, well, I'll say this about Hartenstein. You know, looking at his stats, you know, he played around 17 minutes, 18 minutes a game for the Clippers. He averaged 2.4 assists, which I think is very impressive for a big man within the time span that he played, because you have big men who play more minutes than that and they're not giving you 2.4 assists per game. So that's number one. Number two, also in 17, 18 minutes a game, he almost averages 5 rebounds. So to me, that tells me he rebounds at a pretty high clip as well. You know, if he was getting 30 minutes a game, he probably would give you 10 rebounds. So that's another positive right there too as a big man. And I just like the fact that he adds that dimension to the game that our bigs don't have, because Mitch and Sims are not really good passers as big men, but he as a big man is a good passer. So him adding that element, I think, is a big positive, especially in situations where, if he's in the post and say like the defense is scrambling, he can possibly pass it out to the open guy for a three. So I like the possibility of that. I like the possibility of him opening up the floor too as well, since he's a pretty decent three-point shooter. He's a highly efficient player, 60% from the field, like you said, 47% from three. So there's a lot of positives to like about Hartenstein, and I'm really excited to see how he meshes with that second unit coming off the bench.
Yeah,
I agree. I think we solved two major issues this offseason. Obviously, the point guard issue has been a common thread since Dolan bought the team. But we also, for the first time, maybe since Ewing, unless you want to count Evan Eschmeyer.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Blog Talk Radio.
Naturally have a dynamic
Welcome to Blog
center.
Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Sorry about that, guys. Go ahead.
Okay. We have a big, I'm sorry, I meant Timofey Mostrov, not Evan Eschmeyer.
Unmuted.
We actually have a talented, dynamic big who can do a multitude of things on offense and defense. Typically, we've had one of those wooden centers that's block shots, that's Samuel Dallenberg, or we have a big man can only dunk in the pick and roll situations.
Mhm.
It might be uber athletic, like Tyson Chandler, but Hartenstein gives us a dynamic we have not had in a very long time. For a center, he's a very, very good playmaker. He's also a very good defender as well. He's an awesome rebounder. He has really high IQ and instincts on both sides of the floor. And the NBA has really only seen him in a very small sample size. His career averages right now are 13.7 minutes a game. That's very little. And I think the Knicks don't have an opportunity with Taj Gibson gone. Tibbs can't pull the Taj card.
Right.
So he's actually going to get some minutes as that backup center and actually bring a different dynamic to the team than what Noel and Mitch were, who were almost like Mitch was like a better version of what Noel was, maybe outside of like shot blocking.
Right.
But for the most part, I think Hartenstein can really give you an absolute dynamic offensive threat, even outside of the shooting, which may or may not be realistic. We don't really know if that three-point shot is a true part of his game yet, but we do know he's a high IQ passer and really solid mid-range player for a center. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. And one of the other things too is not even just the defense around the rim. The Knicks have done a really good job finding these big mobile centers who can guard the rim, but also guard like the wing and the guard a little bit. And that's with Sims to the utmost degree. Mitch can do it, and Hartenstein kind of falls right in line with those three, where he can kind of guard the wing a little bit and the center. I saw something that said he was guarding the 3-point line and was able to kind of dart back to the center position and block a shot. Shout out to Ariel who posted a video talking about that. So this guy is uber talented on both sides of the ball, which brings me to my other question: minutes distribution. I've seen a lot of guys feeling like, Hartenstein can start. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I do feel like there will be times when he will finish some games depending on the flow of the game. But what do you feel like the minutes distribution will be between Hartenstein and Mitch? I'll go ahead, Raw. What do you think?
That's a good question, because I think it depends on a couple of things. The first, it depends on Mitch's fitness. If he's going to, because he talked about building up his win, Mitch Rob did over the course of the summer, building up his endurance, because he did seem to be out of breath a lot last year. Now we know he was taking off a lot of weight, but if he's able to keep his wind up, I think Mitch Rob will play a good 25, 30 minutes. If he can't, then we're going to see like a split, I think an even split between him and Hartenstein. And it also depends on Mitch's.
I think it's gonna be split.
If he's not going to be in foul trouble, I think Tibbs is going to Tibbs naturally prefers the rim protector, and Mitch is the elite rim protector. So, and of course, Mitch is the better offensive rebounder. So those are big. And so, if no pun intended, so if Mitch Rob is in shape in terms of his wind, and he's not, losing wind a lot easily, and he is not in foul trouble, he's going to play the majority of the minutes. But other than that, I can see it being pretty close, like 23, 25,
Me too.
something like that. Yeah. Me
too. I agree, man. This is gonna be a battle. I'm really interested. This is probably our team is deep. Our team is very, very deep. I guess you guys don't have anything to add to that.
Deeper than people to realize, man. Really much deeper than people realize.
A whole lot deeper than most. And I had something else to say, and it escaped me right now. I'm gonna think about it a little bit later. I bet. All right. But yo, salute to you guys. I know the phone lines are back up if you want to call in. I saw that Nickverse said that Hartenstein has a high foul rate. Yeah, both him and Mitch have foul troubles, and that might be the time when Sims gets his little 5 minutes, when both of those guys are in foul trouble. But both of those guys have that in common, that they kind of high foul rate type of guys. But nonetheless, he's gonna be a great addition for our team.
That's fine. That's 12 fouls between the two.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right.
We'll be fine. We'll definitely be fine.
Yep.
Basketball Prophet says Hartenstein is the best rim protector in the NBA. Literally saved 2.5 more points at the rim than Mitch last season per possession. Yeah, it's one of those things with you can foul more and get more blocks. Because there was a year when Mitch, I think, led the NBA in blocks, or was like number 2. And that was
his first or second year. Yeah, it's either first year or second year. Yeah.
And that was also the year when he was fouling out like crazy. So sometimes, you got to be able to deter with your presence and not just go for the block. So I do value that, but it's more impressive when you can do that and not foul out.
Didn't Mitch have like 8 or 9 blocks in one game, something like that?
This
game he had like. No, it was like 2 years ago or something.
Yeah,
he had like 8 or 9 blocks.
Have that amount of blocks, yeah.
Yeah, he had like 8 or 9 blocks in the game.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It might be. I have to double check that. Oh, I thought about it now. What I wanted to say before now. I do also feel like Hartenstein is going to he might actually push Mitch to expand his game. Because we all seen videos of him working on dribble handoff, shooting jump shots. Yo, it's funny. Shout out to Papa Left. Papa Left challenged Mitch to a bet and said if Mitchell Robinson shoots 1 3-pointer, he's gonna cash app him $100. Now we all know Mitch doesn't need $100, right? Mitch is good.
Nah. Mitch could cap at all of us $100.
But listen, Mitch I tagged Mitch in the post because even though these Knicks pretend like they don't pretend, even though these Knicks pretend like they don't pay attention on social media, I see Mitch in the streets. I see Mitch in the contracts. Mitch pays attention. So I tagged Mitch. And then I saw like a few days later, he has the eyes on the comment. So Papa Left, you might have to call for up $100 to Mitch because I think it's coming. I'm just letting you know right now. Sham God Mitch is on the way. The Sham God into the jumper from 3 is coming. Watch out. Trust me. All right.
The God Sham God cross.
The God Sham God cross into the Mitch Curry jumper from 3. It's happening. I'm telling you. Mitch Curry with the shot. It's happening.
And I just want to confirm what Ross said. Yes, his career high blocks in the game is 9 blocks against the Magic, November 11, 2018.
Good memory. November, and that was my birthday. Look at that.
Oh, and that was like he had like a streak of blocks that year. Like he had like so many games in a row where he had a whole bunch of, he had a block.
Gotcha. Jason M said Mitch joined Spaces before. Yeah, Mitch is tapped in. He can't fool us. All right. I know we got a caller up, and then I'm going to tell you the big guest is coming next week after this caller. So next caller up, we got Craig Ward. What's going on, Craig?
What's happening, Sam?
What's going on?
It's Craig. Get up. Giving shout out to Lee, the new addition to the Nick of Time show.
Shout out to Lee.
Gotta give it up for Ryan with the stats and the facts. my man Roy, I call you my continental breakfast because I tell you I've had my coffee, my banana nut muffin, and I put you on to get some of my continent. When of course I got to give it up to the one and only Jay Ellis. It's been
Shoot.
a long time, fellas, but here's my take. We were up on Hartenstein, and I think he's a really good addition to the family. What I do like about him is the fact that I think he can also take, the heat out of the paint. But as far as like big men, I've always expected the big men to hold it down as far as the defenses, the rim protection. I think that he won't be necessarily used so much around the rim, but to take the heat from clogging up the middle by bringing out, the guys out from the paint, so that it will make it easier for the smaller guys to drive in and score that way. I like the fact that we have a new guard, which is what we needed as far as controlling the game. See, what made Randolph so bad is the fact that you want to use him as a point, and he's not a point. He's not a point at all. But they thought that was what the culture was going to go towards, is having a big man controlling the game. He's not the one. He doesn't have the handles per se when it comes down to controlling the lower portion of the court. Now, on the outside, he gets double teamed. He panics a lot and throws the ball away. But towards the end of the season last year, he was able to make some really good passes, which made me shocked. Like, wow, he really hit that one. But he waits too long. He holds on to the ball entirely too long, like he's having breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the ball.
He doesn't have the processing speed to think about the passes and that.
As soon as you get As soon as you get double teamed, count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. Get rid of the ball. Don't sit there, look around, having guys wide open. How many times do you see RJ jumping up and down with his hands in the corner, pass me the ball, and he's overlooked?
Yeah.
So with us having Brunson, he's the floor general. He's the one that's going to control the whole game, and I think that is going to be the big difference. We're finally going to have a floor general, somebody that can keep their heads up, has a high IQ, and he's like he said, I'm not going to be here to save the game, save the team. I'm not the savior, but trust and believe he's going to be a big, major difference in the performance of our Knicks this particular season.
I agree.
That's why I think that RJ feels really positive about that, because he said, we're going to shock the world. And I think, to be honest with you fellas, we definitely are going to be the most talked about team in the league this season. So
I hope it's for all the right reasons, man. I hope it's for all the right reasons. Right. But thanks for calling in, Craig. Right. It's been a while since you talked to us, man. Salute to you. Thanks for calling.
Right. Okay, bro. I appreciate you. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. Craig's been OG caller, OG listener. Probably one of the first minds I made on the KOT show. I know since JT said he wanted to call, I know Fritz said he wanted to call. Anybody else in the queue? No? At first you coming through, Fritz? I know you said you want to come through. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, so, I'm really excited. I'm excited about this team. The day after Tibbs was fired, because must happen. Cam must happen.
Yeah.
Cam, you gotta stay strong. You can survive Tibbs. Just wait a minute. This Tibbs he's holding his back. We have an absolutely unfit team. This team should be not in 8 seconds or less. This team could really outlast other teams. So they should really be taking a new approach. Tim has not indicated that he's going to do anything different than he.
Yeah.
He hasn't indicated he's going to do anything. anything different than last year.
Yeah, he just needs to listen. We have one of the deepest teams in the NBA. That's our strength. And this guy, Tibbs, has a tendency to lean on his veterans a little bit too much. He's done that his whole career. If you look back to other teams like the Timberwolves, they complained about that. So for us to maximize our potential, I absolutely believe that Tibbs has to adjust in that regard and actually utilizing our strength, which is our depth. So hopefully that's what Tibbs does in 2022.
I think Obi has some people on the side. Like this going into this summer, you can see this is the time of year people are bulking up, changing the way they look. Obi looks exactly the same as he looked last year. So you know what? They didn't want to change the thing. They didn't want him to become a power player. They didn't want him, Obi shit to trip back to the basket. No, they like Obi the way he was.
Gotcha.
So if they like Obi the way he was, Tibbs is the one who needs to change.
Gotcha.
So I'm just saying, Tibbs is in here, and then we can start getting down to business and making the roster work. If you have two talented guys, you make it work.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do.
You don't say, hey, I don't like it. No, you make it work. You find ways to make it work.
Yeah, we definitely can make it work. We just need to utilize the pieces we have correctly. So salute to you, man. Shout out to the best mind in the game. My guy Fritz. Shout out to you, Fritz. Still. All right, yo, good show, guys. I think we talked about everything else that we want to talk about. Next show coming up will be on Monday. So it might be a later show than usual, but we'll be here on Monday with a surprise guest. And the Knick Time show will be having Monday night the GOAT of insiders, Mr. Ian Begley, making his debut on the KOT show. So shout out to you guys. We got Ian coming here, so definitely I want to be here on Monday to talk Knicks with us, and we should have a good time, man. We're gonna wrap up. It's gonna be our actual season preseason pre-show, and it's gonna be a good talking about the biggest questions coming into this season. So definitely join us on Monday as we talk Knicks with the GOAT, Ian Begley. All right. All right. That is our show, guys, man. I know all you guys are tired. So let's wrap this up. And as you know, hit that like button, subscribe button if you're feeling the show and you're feeling the conversation. Had some great times today. Lots of jokes in the beginning, for sure. It was a fun show. I like having all the guys together, man. I love you guys, man. Full squad. I'm still trying to get Kathy. Kathy keeps saying she's coming.
Who's Kathy? Kathy who?
Kathy. Oh, listen. For those of you who know, KOT started back.
The baby y'all used to have back in the day?
2016, yes. It was me, Ryan G, Edson Shot, and Kathy. That was the old that was the old crew back in the day.
Kathy coming back?
She been trying. And she said she was gonna come, and then work got in the way. But we'll see. If you don't know, the first woman content creator ever in Knicks Nation was Kathy. All right, let's get it straight. Let's get it straight.
Let's get this come correct.
We started in 2016. That was the first woman Knicks content creator. Low key, KOT was the first. A lot of things.
It was in somebody's apartment. I remember.
Oh yeah, it was Edson Sean's garage where he had a little studio.
Dang, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
good.
Low key, we were first to do a lot of things, and people kind of like copied us and copied us.
First, man.
We inspired.
Then there was that mother-son couple. I forgot their name. There was that mother-son couple. Remember them?
Man, yes. Trey and Terry.
Yeah, what happened to them, man?
I've been trying to get Terry and Trey on here.
Terry and Trey.
I've been trying, and I just let it go after a while.
I thought they were brother and sister. That chick, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, they just. I don't know. Maybe they're just getting their life together or something. They might be back. They might be back.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Terry and Trey. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Terry and
missed them.
Trey, goats, man.
I missed them. I missed them.
Goats. I definitely missed them. Yo, Terry and Trey, if you listen,
Where y'all
man.
at? Come on back there, Glenn.
Listen. But yo, that is our show, man. That is our show. Thank you guys for watching. And it's time to say goodbye. All right. Ryan, let them know where we can find you, sir.
You can find me on Instagram at Sir G is chillin'.
Sir
G is chilling.
That's SIRG is CHILLIN. You can also find me Sir G's Corner, also on Instagram. Content coming soon, and Ryan G KOT on Twitter.
That's right. That's right. All right. Raw, let them know where to find you, sir.
Right, so it's Raw Hebrew Remnant on YouTube. Now I ain't spell it, but it's R on Twitter. It's RWHBRWRMNANT. Raw Hebrew Remnant shortened on Twitter. But most of y'all probably know that. And then there's Raw Hebrew Remnant also on Patreon for the support of the poor in the Philippines.
That's all right. Get that Patreon. Support the poor in the Philippines. All right. Come on, Lee. Let them know. Wait a minute. Lee is now on Twitter, y'all. Let's go.
It's official.
We bullying him.
For some reason, on Twitter. I thought Lee was already on Twitter. I don't know why. I thought he was already on.
Nope, he just joined.
Okay.
Lee.
So the first time ever.
Where can they find you, Lee?
Yeah, y'all give me a follow. My handle is @_Lee Escobedo, LEEESCOBEDO. And also make sure you follow my boys here on the KOT show. Always hit up Ryan G for the financial advice. Get your money right. And I subscribe to Raw's Patreon today. I'm going to be an avid reader. So make sure y'all support my boys here on the channel. Do good work.
Solid. Thank you.
And Fritz, the MVP.
MVP. All right. You already know what it is. All right. Listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you hear any of those things. You can listen to the KOT show on all those podcast platforms. Also, you can buy our snapbacks on thetimeshow.com/catalog. And also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. The KT Show on Twitter, the Nick of Time Show on Facebook and Instagram. That is our show. And as always,
shout out the World Wide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks YouTube and Twitter streets. That is our show. We out of here.
Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.